It's our time to shine. Show that's the kind of state of mind you gotta combine with hard work and time. You gotta climb to the top. Don't let yourself drop till your heart stops. Let this beat rock. Got a new clock and a new stock for this new rock. Just let your mind loose from the new stock. Drunk off the goose, thinking that I'm too pop. Getting caught with a few thoughts cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me. Giving what I got, nobody's gonna drain my energy. And I will never stop, I'm motivated by enemies. Setting up shop so everybody remember me. And no, I am not going through life regretfully. I'd rather work non-stop, what they call incessantly, than work some odd job just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy.
On this interview right now. So hey guys, this is Shoaib Banerjee, and I'm doing this interview today with Lalita, fitness coach and nutritionist, and we are here to discuss a very important topic today, which most women suffer through, that is PCOS or PCODs. But before that, diving into the topic, I'm going to just ask Lalita to just give a short introduction about herself and her journey, how she got into the fitness line.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. So, firstly, I was always a fitness enthusiast. I've been working out for like pretty long, and I was always curious to learn more because when I was in school, I was quite a chubby kid, quite an overweight kid, and I really wanted to work on myself. So that's how I got into it at a very young age because I didn't know what was the right thing to do. So I started reading a lot. I started looking up the internet for every possible solution. But I think that was a good thing because luckily I came across a lot of good websites, a lot of good content. So I started reading about how lifting weights can benefit you. And during the process, I also realized I had PCOS myself. So that was one of the main reasons I started reading more, and I started like linking weight training with PCOS because it's very helpful. So while I worked on myself, I also got interested to help others who suffered from the same condition. But I was an architect back then. Luckily for me, I came across this amazing platform called Fitter, and then I joined it, and then it became my full-time career.
So also, if you are not following Lalita right now, I will link. I will share some amazing content on her page, Instagram page, and personally, I'm following her for a very long time. So yeah, diving into the main topic, Lalita. First, I want to also talk about, like, if you just elaborate on like what is PCOS and PCODs for those who are watching this interview right now, who
Yeah.
will watch this.
So firstly, a lot of people get confused, but PCOS and PCOD is the same thing. It's just that it was called PCOD before, but since D stood for disease, they changed it and they made it like just polycystic ovarian symptoms. So what happens is there are like follicles which don't mature, and so that's when it grows and it becomes like it forms like big follicles which never mature or like become fertile in the ovaries, and that symptom is known as polycystic ovarian symptom. And what happens is not everyone has the same type of PCOS. Some people may have symptoms of PCOS, but they may not, like they may not have uh, polycystic ovaries. They may just have the symptoms such as acne, they may have irregular periods, they may have you also develop male characteristics because of higher male hormones. So, like excess hair growth, and you also have a dysfunction in your body because you don't have enough female hormones. So there are many different types of PCOS, and it's not necessary that everyone has all the conditions. You may just have a few. Like for me, whenever I get my tests done, everything is normal, but I used to have a lot of acne. I used to have excess weight. I was having trouble losing it. And in some conditions, what happens is it's due to it's a lifestyle disorder. So someone with very bad lifestyle. Of course, it is teamed, so it is a genetic issue. I could have probably got it from my mom's side or my dad's side. I don't know. And if that is coupled with a bad lifestyle, then you're likely to suffer more. So, in most cases, people who adopt a healthy lifestyle can keep it under control. But for a person like me, I completely changed my lifestyle. My diet is amazing and everything. But still, I still struggle with PCOS. I still have some of the symptoms of PCOS. So a lot of people think, oh, it's just a lifestyle disorder. If I start exercising, if I start working out, it's going to go away. But that's not true. And a lot of people also think that only overweight people can suffer with PCOS. That's also not true. So basically, this disease or this issue can affect anyone, and there's no one test which can tell you that you have PCOS. A lot of people go undiagnosed, and there's no like definition that like something like thyroid, where
Mm.
it's either hypothyroid or hyperthyroid. You can just take one medication and get fine with it. But for PCOS, that's not the case. You can only keep it under control. In some cases, you can't even keep it under control. It's very difficult. So, there's no particular definition for it, but these are some of the symptoms.
Okay, so like, how does someone know or establish that they have PCOS or PCOD, as they say? So, are
So,
this? Yeah.
yeah. So it can affect women at any age, but
Mhm.
most commonly it affects like teenagers. So I'll give you my own example. For the longest time, I didn't know I have PCOS because I was already working out, and I was pretty lean. So I couldn't understand why I had acne, why my periods were irregular, and I always had an issue with gaining weight very fast, even though I took care of my diet most of the time. So that's what happens with most people. They don't know because unless you go to the doctor and unless you go to the right doctor, they will not be able to diagnose you. So for a very long time, I used to go to a dermatologist, and she kept giving me medications for my skin. But actually, the issue was internal, it was hormonal. So most girls realize because of irregular periods. So only when they have irregular periods will they go to a gynecologist or an endocrinologist, and that's how they'll know. So that's one of the main things. If you're having irregular periods, you should go and get your blood work done. Basically, get all your testosterone, your DHA. You also have to get your vitamin D levels tested, your prolactin, your luteinizing hormone. So these are some of the hormones they will test in your blood, and then they'll tell you whether you have PCOS or not once you go to the doctor.
So, also like, Narita, like, what are some of the food choices that can help someone when they're suffering through PCOS or PCODs? Like, when they're planning their diet, like some of the things that they should keep in mind.
Yeah. So like I said that PCOS can't be cured, but you can keep it under control. And in some cases, by just changing your diet, you can actually get rid of PCOS. I have helped a lot of my clients get rid of PCOS, but of course it's case to case basis. So there is no particular diet that you can give your uh, you know PCOS clients, but there are a few considerations that might help them. So firstly, you need to make sure that most of their food is whole food and unprocessed food. So maybe someone without PCOS, they can get away by eating a lot of processed packaged food. They can get away by eating out a lot. But for someone with PCOS, they have to be really careful. So no bakery items, nothing which has a lot of sodium content in it, nothing which is, heavily laden with like fats and carbs, say like donuts, ice creams. All of this has to be in moderation. When I say moderation, maybe just 10% of your diet can be made up of this. The rest of it has to be whole unprocessed food, which you are probably cooking at home, so you're in control of what all you're adding. So that is the first thing. Secondly, they also have to moderate their carbohydrate intake. This is because people with PCOS are slightly resistant to insulin. So this can lead to diabetes in future. Most people who have PCOS, if they don't take care of it, or if they don't keep it under control, eventually it could lead to pre-diabetes and then diabetes. So you need to make sure that you moderate carbohydrates. But again, it's very individual. So some people can tolerate a lot of carbohydrates. Like now, if I'm in a deficit, but I still eat a lot of carbs, I still make good progress. But that's because I also lift. So maybe I'm more sensitive to insulin. So that's another thing. Along with the diet, you also need to make sure that they exercise regularly, so that they build muscle, and they also become more sensitive to insulin. They use whatever calories they're eating much better than someone who doesn't exercise. So weight training has a lot of benefits apart from the diet. And also your fats need to be you know unsaturated fats. You cannot eat a lot of trans fats. Even your saturated fats needs to be in moderation, mostly unsaturated fats, both monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So there are a lot of studies which show benefits. When your carbohydrate intake is low, your protein intake is pretty high, and your fats intake also comes from like the good fats that they say. So like avocados, nuts, salmon, other types of fish, all of that. So some people say that, oh, avocados is not Indian, but you can choose like other Indian sources of fats, good fats. And yeah, so these are few of the things. But again, it's very individual. uh, Someone who can tolerate a lot of carbs with PCOS may not need the same diet as someone who cannot tolerate many carbs from PCOS.
So it's also like understanding how your body responds, basically.
Yeah,
How your
that
body responds.
yeah. For some people, their BMR will be highly reduced. So if so, most people with PCOS will need a bigger deficit than a person who doesn't have PCOS. Again, you can't generalize this, but I've seen it in most cases. So their deficit needs to be bigger, because of which most people have an adherence issue. But once they start seeing progress, once they're able to stick to the diet, then in most cases their condition gets better.
Yeah, talking about the exercising part, which we were talking about a few minutes
Yeah.
back. So, let's also get on this topic. Like, what will be your recommendation when it comes to exercising and precautions that someone should take uh, in terms of exercising? Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, one thing is, any type of exercise is also a stress on your body, because you need to take time, you need to recover. Uh, Exercise also causes inflammation and everything. And all these things actually can trigger PCOS to worsen. So, you need to be really careful when you prescribe exercise. And the mistake most people make is they do insane amount of cardio, running, cycling, whatnot, and they don't recover enough. Basically, I mean, someone with PCOS, they don't know what is right for them, what is wrong with them. So you can't blame them. They're just trying to do what they read somewhere, and there's a lot of misinformation also. So you need to be really careful and don't over exercise. That is the main thing I would tell someone, because if you over exercise and you don't recover, you are not getting any benefits from it. Instead, I would suggest you to do like low impact cardio, so that your stress level is not too high, you recover well. But mainly, you have to include some form strength training? Firstly, because strength training makes you more sensitive to insulin. So automatically your nutrition partitioning would become better. Basically, your carbs would go to recovery of your muscle, glycogen storage. Your glycogen is getting used up and all that. Because if somebody doesn't exercise and they're eating a lot of carbs, I mean, it's just not like getting used in your body, right? It's just going to get stored as additional fat. But if the same person following the same diet is working out and doing strength training, their carbs are getting used better. So automatically you become more sensitive to insulin. So it's very, very important to do strength training. And also because, strength training in the long run will increase your lean muscle mass. And that has so many other benefits apart from just weight loss. So strength training is very important, and I would team it up with low intensity cardio. So there are studies, there are researches to show that HIIT is very beneficial for PCOS, but again it's case to case basis. So if somebody is able to recover well, someone has good training experience and they know how to perform HIIT, they don't overdo it, it could be beneficial to them. But if I give HIIT to like a complete beginner, like true HIIT, sprinting and stuff at like above 85 to 90% of their heart rate, and they don't recover, then they're likely to get injured from it. They're likely not going to recover from it. So I don't usually suggest HIIT, but weight training is very important and staying active is very important. So if you do 1 hour of intense exercise and then you're just sitting the whole day, that's not good for you. Again, like you're not utilizing whatever calories you eat. Your digestion will not be as good. So maybe you can start with just like making sure they do a set amount of steps. That's the best way to monitor someone's activity. Maybe give them like 6,000, 7,000 steps. As they progress, you can maybe increase it to 10,000 steps. And most people, 90% of people who actually stick to the program will see results.
So yeah, Lalita, I want to ask also this question as you talked about nutrition. So supplementation is a big part of it. So
Yeah.
does any kind of supplementation help you in this situation? Can potentially help?
Yes, so there's a lot of research on this supplement called inositol,
Hmm.
and it's recently it has gained a lot of popularity, and this supplement has been proven in many researches to show that it helps people with PCOS. So anyone with PCOS can take this supplement. Of course, you need to use it for 6 months or more, but it has shown benefits to um, increase your sensitivity to insulin, and also it has shown to improve like fat loss, and it has a lot of other benefits. So this is one of the proven supplements, and you have to take like 4 grams a day. So some say you need to take 2 grams on an empty stomach, 2 grams in the evening, but there's no need to overcomplicate it. You can just take 4 grams any time of the day, and this has shown a lot of benefit along with magnesium and vitamin D3. So again, these are not like blanket recommendations. You cannot just tell someone start taking vitamin D3 like inositol. Inositol everyone can take because they say that inositol is already present in our body, but usually people with PCOS lack it or they have insufficient amount, so they can take it. But vitamin D3 and magnesium should first be tested, and if they are like low in magnesium and low in vitamin D3, they can start supplementing. Most people do have vitamin D3 deficiency. Anyway, most people have vitamin D3 deficiency. So if they are deficient, they can take like for 3 months to increase it, and then they can just take the maintenance dosage. And magnesium, you also need to make sure that you're taking magnesium which is bioavailable. So people will just once you tell them you need to take magnesium, they will just take magnesium in any form. But they also need to understand that if it's not bioavailable, then there's no point consuming it. So you need to do your research, maybe talk to your doctor, your physician, check how much you need, what supplement exactly you need. And these are the few supplements which can help you. There has also been research that L-carnitine helps with insulin sensitivity. So people basically say that L-carnitine is like useless and everything for general population, but it has shown some benefit for people with PCOS. Again, it might work for some people, it might not work. Maybe it has a little benefit. You can experiment with it, but my best bet would be to take inositol and to take 4 grams a day. Between 2 to 4 grams has shown benefit, and take it like regularly. You may not see, like immediate results, but in the long run, it might help.
So yeah, thank you, Lalita, for providing so much information today. So basically, for every person who's going to watch this interview, I would just ask one last question: is that everything that we talked on, few key points that you want to tell before we end this interview?
Yeah. So firstly, if you're someone who's struggling with PCOS, stop thinking that it's impossible for you to get rid of it or to get it under control. Stop thinking that you can't make a transformation. You definitely can. It's just harder for you, but it's not impossible. You might have to put a little more effort, and you will definitely see a benefit from changing your lifestyle, from changing your nutrition, and also making sure that you're recovering well and you're also exercising, you're getting enough sleep, you're managing your stress well. So these are things that everyone should take into consideration if they have PCOS. And lastly, I again want to repeat that it's not impossible to make a change if you have PCOS.
So yeah, thank you so much, Lalita, for coming out today, giving your time and letting me have this interview. If you are not following Lalita right now, so go. If you're watching this interview, go follow her. She has some amazing content on our Instagram page. Also, like this video, share this video to your friends. So this is gonna help them a lot. And subscribe to my channel. Thank you.